If I'm Bob Iger, you know what we're doing? Emergency meeting. We're putting Snow White on hold for 2 years, and guess what?
Smart.
Pay her a couple $1,000,000, go away. We're going to bring another person to play this role.
And Disney decided to hire the most insufferable girl boss narcissist that exists on Earth, who hates Snow White.
Or what?
They're leaning into woke. Hardcore.
They're petrified
Yeah.
of some kind of backlash. I mean, you see with Disney now. I mean, Disney, one of the most gay-friendly company.
Rachel Zegler's journey from rising star to controversial figure really hit a new high when Disney's Snow White flopped so spectacularly that the rumors about her begging for money started flying. Because nothing says successful career like desperately scrambling for cash after a box office disaster, right? The drama, which started with whispers of tension between her and Gal Gadot, just escalated after the film's release. Sources now say Rachel's apparently busy securing financial help for her next project, because who wouldn't want to throw their money at a star in such high demand? What was supposed to be a groundbreaking remake full of fresh ideas quickly turned into a chaotic mess of canceled appearances and a massive online backlash. And the best part? Industry experts can't quite figure out how a project that was supposed to be so full of promise managed to crash and burn so fast. Fans were practically giddy when Rachel was announced as the lead, only to watch this fairy tale spiral into disaster. After her initial breakthroughs, Rachel Zegler was definitely seen as the next big thing, a fresh talent who could take a beloved Disney classic and sprinkle on some modern sensibility. Because who doesn't want a moral and educational experience from Snow White, right? Apparently, not Disney fans who were dying for a bit of nostalgia and a simple, whimsical retelling. Instead, they got a deep dive into some high-minded commentary that totally missed the mark on their fairy tale dreams. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Disney execs were frantically watching the divide grow, probably wondering how they went from planning a smooth, crowd-pleasing hit to a messy PR nightmare. They thought they could just roll out Snow White like another easy win, right? Guess not. Snow White, where mismatched ideals and clashing personalities turned what was supposed to be a fun remake into a masterclass on how not to make a film. Every time Rachel Zegler opened her mouth to criticize the original story as outdated and in desperate need of a modern moral makeover, fans of the 1937 classic felt more and more like they were watching a completely different movie. Naturally, social media exploded with a fiery debate between Zegler's fans, who thought her desire to update the tale was brave and forward-thinking, and the die-hard purists who were clearly not here for the disruption of their cherished traditions. Meanwhile, Gal Gadot was over there, doing her thing and supporting various global causes, which, of course, totally resonated with her loyal fan base, while simultaneously some people found themselves feeling alienated. But the real kicker? The rumor mill went wild when Zegler conveniently skipped a high-profile ceremony meant to honor Gadot. This absence was interpreted in one of two ways. Either she was making a huge statement about her feelings toward Gadot, or it was just her sticking to her moral compass, rejecting political themes she couldn't support. Either way, the backlash was immediate, and some saw it as a personal jab at Gadot, while others thought it was just Zegler standing firm on her principles. You know, it's always fun when things get messy. But of course, this little drama had massive consequences. Disney executives, in their infinite wisdom, had hoped the two stars would present the perfect, picture-perfect, united front, exchange a couple of heartfelt words, and show the world how supportive they were of each other. But instead, Rachel Zegler decided to skip the event entirely, practically screaming, "Yep, there's definitely something going on here," and reinforcing the rumors of tension. Things only went downhill from there. In interviews, neither actress seemed even remotely interested in praising the other or pretending they were best friends. In fact, journalists at promotional photo shoots reported multiple awkward pauses and moments where filming just couldn't continue because the actresses were too busy glaring at each other to do their jobs. At one point, eyewitnesses claimed Rachel Zegler stormed off after a snarky comment from Gal Gadot, flatly refusing to continue until tempers had cooled down. This behind-the-scenes chaos obviously didn't stay behind the scenes for long, as leaks about the tension spread like wildfire. With all this bad blood spilling into the public, audiences started to wonder, could a movie so bogged down by real-life feuds even remotely capture their interest? Because nothing screams must-see like a film practically drenched in drama. Well, seasoned movie experts definitely had a point when they warned that negative buzz this intense can tank a film, no matter how flashy the visuals or fresh the updates. And guess what? Early box office numbers were looking, shall we say, less than enthusiastic. Even the die-hard Disney fans who usually flock to every live-action remake were holding back, clearly exhausted by the never-ending drama surrounding the film. As if things weren't bad enough, the production costs shot up faster than you can say reshoots, because apparently the chemistry between Zegler and Gadot was so non-existent, they had to fix it in post-production. The editors had to work some serious magic, stitching together what could barely be called coherent scenes, as footage was regularly interrupted by the actresses' squabbles. Not surprisingly, the timetable and expenses exploded, forcing Disney to cut back on certain marketing plans and throw all their remaining budget into salvaging the movie. To make matters even worse, the behind-the-scenes tension spilled over into the editing room, with rumors swirling that entire emotional story arcs were created from separate shots where Zegler and Gadot weren't even in the same frame. Oh, and let's not forget the canceled press events. The cherry on top? The lost opportunity to have both actresses appear together on key talk shows, which could have, maybe made people forget about all the drama. But sure, just keep doing what you're doing. The publicists had the best intentions, thinking a few carefully coordinated joint appearances would clear up all those pesky rumors of animosity. But with the raw hostility between Zegler and Gadot, the idea of them sitting together, smiling for the cameras, and reminiscing about their oh-so-wonderful time on set seemed downright laughable. So the schedules were quickly adjusted for solo interviews, which of course were scaled back too, because who could blame their teams for worrying that any offhand remark could set off a new media firestorm? Unsurprisingly, the film's promotional momentum took a nosedive, with the public far more interested in the drama than any potential artistic merits. Because let's face it, who cares about a movie when you've got a real-life feud to watch? And let's not forget the damage to Zegler's image. Once hailed as the breakout talent of the year with a bright future ahead, she was suddenly viewed by some as a risky choice. Someone ready to bail on major events or clash with co-stars over her ideological beliefs. That raised a lot of red flags for producers. Meanwhile, Gadot, despite her fair share of criticism, mostly about her political views, had the cushion of an established career and a loyal fan base to soften the blow. But Zegler, relatively new to the high-stakes world of Hollywood's A-list, this reputational hit came at a much more vulnerable moment. Talk about bad timing. In an industry where there's no shortage of alternatives, casting directors tend to play it safe when repeated controversies start piling up. Enter Rachel Zegler, who, despite once being hailed as Hollywood's next big thing, found herself at the mercy of rumors about financial struggles. With fewer roles coming her way and Snow White's box office prospects looking questionable, whispers began circulating that she might be turning to her influential business contacts, or maybe even Disney execs and private investors, for some much-needed financial help. Some of the more dramatic rumors even suggested she was practically begging for money just to keep her career on track. Oh, and let's not forget the talk about how this high-profile flop might be the nail in the coffin for her future opportunities and income. Now, whether any of these rumors had any truth to them was nearly impossible to verify, but they certainly sparked a lot of chatter. Fans and critics alike couldn't help but wonder, how could someone who had once wowed audiences now be so desperate for financial backing? The internet exploded with discussions about whether Hollywood was failing young talent, or if Zegler's own outspoken nature, plus her refusal to attend key events, had set her on this downward spiral. People went back and forth on whether she deserved sympathy, or if she'd alienated the big players in Disney's world by speaking her mind. Either way, the situation was a prime example of how quickly things can go south when you're under a public microscope.